uncomfortable reality of visiting Tokyo is the weather. Sooner or later, it's probably going to rain, and usually quite hard. And our trip was no exception. With just one full day left before heading to Kyoto, we'd carefully planned one last adventure. Instead, a huge spring storm rolled in. Our itinerary completely unravelled, and suddenly we found ourselves making it up as we went along. But by the end of the day, we'd actually discovered some of our favourite rainy day experiences in Tokyo. So if your trip threatens to be washed out, don't panic. Let's show you what we did, because as it turns out, Tokyo doesn't stop just because it rains, and neither should you. Tomorrow, we'd be boarding the Shinkansen to Kyoto, so this was our last chance to experience the city. The day actually started with a race. Not against the trains or the crowds, but against the weather. We'd booked tickets for the Tokyo Skytree weeks in advance. Having missed out on Shibuya Skydeck's sunset tickets, we wanted to lock in the Skytree, but booking so far out gave us little ability to predict the weather. The morning was dry but overcast, with an ever-dropping cloud level and a large storm looming on the horizon. And as we crossed the city, we could see the very top of the tower disappearing in and out of the clouds. At over 2,000 feet, it's very susceptible to low cloud. It was obvious the deck would soon be swamped in cloud. We just hoped we could get there first. This metro journey had been one of the most complicated of the trip, and we arrived only just before our allotted time slot ran out. And with the chances of good views diminishing by the second, it was a race for the top. Somehow, we made it in the nick of time. When we stepped out onto the observation deck, there were still some fantastic views stretching across Tokyo. Sure, they were a little gloomy, but the viz was just good enough to get a good final look at the city. We could even spot Disneyland just visible on the horizon, which is our final destination for this trip. It felt like we timed it perfectly, but as we climbed higher up the multi-floor tower, the veil descended and the views dropped to near zero, and Tokyo vanished into a wall of grey. Sometimes the weather just has other ideas, but you have to make the most of it, and what better way than some cheery Sakura spring cocktails while taking in the view. So while this was disappointing, we got the view for just long enough to make it worthwhile, and the Skytree is now the tallest building we've ever been up, and only the Burj Khalifa and the Malaysian Meradaka can top it. As we came down from the tower, the weather deteriorated fast, and looking outside, the rain was coming down in spades. So we took a breather and hoped it would improve, while we did a spot of shopping. The base of the tower is a huge sprawling shopping centre, so we took some time to explore, including a stop at Tower Knives, where I finally picked up a proper Yanagaba sushi knife. I'd wanted a proper Yanagaba for years, to add to my Japanese knife collection, and Japan seemed like the perfect place to finally get my hands on one. This also served as a nice reminder of one of the best meals we'd ever had just a couple of nights earlier. Maybe, if I practice for 20 plus years, I can be that good. While the delay had been successful in one way, it hadn't helped on the weather front, and driving rain had now settled in. One of our backup ideas had been Team Labs. Unfortunately, we left it too late and every ticket had sold out for both the Borderless and Planet exhibits. So that's just another reason we need to cut back. Instead, we headed for our main option, the Tsukiji Outer Market. We know this iconic fish market isn't anymore, with the main operations now moved to Toyosu. But we were not looking to buy a whole bluefin, and there are still some excellent vendors here selling some incredibly fresh seafood. The weather was awful. People were squeezing through tiny alleyways with umbrellas clashing on all sides, and we were completely soaked within minutes. Rain pouring off the guttering and our eyes getting nearly poked out several times, but it was all really good fun and felt like a nice old-timey fish market. Naturally, we needed to do more than just look, so we picked up some amazing sashimi to eat right on the street. Salmon, yellowtail, and incredible bluefin selections. It's not cheap, but when the whole bluefin tuna is lying out in front of you, you know it's fresh. One thing we were a bit unsure about was some of the more unusual offerings, such as whale meat. We felt bad even trying this. Well, I felt bad. Kate point blank refused and still hasn't forgiven me, and I'm still not sure if I should have. But some things you only get to try once, and it's part of their culture, rightly or wrongly. It was definitely memorable, if a little too meaty for my tastes. I like my steak rare, but this makes blue feel overcooked. Overall, this was probably the most stressful lunch we've ever had, but it was certainly an experience. It also lacked any real carbs, so we topped up with an obligatory Kobe stop for Kate's 5th egg sando in 4 days. The hype is real, and Kate was becoming an addict. This then left us with very little left in the itinerary and still a full afternoon to kill. At this point, we'd had enough of being wet, so we looked for somewhere indoors that didn't require pre-booking weeks ago, and this turned out to be a Cat Café. We won't try and pretend this wasn't always on the cards, as it was, but it's supposed to be a side attraction, not a full 2 hours of our day. But hey, a couple of hours surrounded by ridiculously friendly cats, good coffee and dried clothes. This is exactly what we needed, feeding them tuna martinis and generally just enjoying their amazing company. And of course, we got the tuna martini recipe for our own little furball, Maui, to make up for so openly cheating on her. We have a full video of this coming up, so like and subscribe so you can watch that. Back at the hotel, it was time to do something we've been looking forward to trying. Japan's famous luggage forwarding service. Rather than dragging suitcases across the country the next morning, we sent everything ahead to Kyoto. This worked so well, we actually think it deserves a video on its own, and with our bags sorted, we even managed to squeeze in some time relaxing in the hotel spa, before heading out for one final evening. For our final night, we headed back to Shinjuku, which was handy as the weather had got even worse. The rain continued, but the wind had also massively picked up. For dinner, we headed to Omadi Yokocho, better known as Memory Lane. Grilled meats, edamame beans, rice cakes and some more cheap drinks in a tiny little backstreet joint with friendly vibes and some interesting TV.
Cheers. Hi.
After some time exploring the district, we then headed for one last wander through the Golden Guy. On our last visit, we loved the bar we found, but this seemed to have completely evaporated, so we tried a few more random spots. All were good, but none quite captured the essence of our first izakaya experience all those days ago. Wow, it actually was only 2.5 days ago. So much has happened since then, it feels so much longer. By now, the storm had reached full force. The rain was relentless, the wind was howling, and our faithful umbrellas finally gave up. After days of surviving Tokyo, they met their match. Replacements would be needed. However, on this cold, wet evening, Shinjuku looked amazing. The rain reflecting the neon in such a stunning manner. The area was just as heaving as last night, and a pop-up Japanese idol concert had, popped up outside our hotel. Certainly a very novel experience. We had absolutely no idea who they were at the time. Months later, after a lot of detective work, we finally figured out we'd accidentally watched one of Japan's most popular underground idol groups, roughly translated as Yakusai Amuse, which roughly means nighttime amusement park. This was not how we planned our final day. Our original itinerary never really stood a chance, but we didn't let the weather win. We still headed out and did the best we could under the downpour, because here's the thing, you don't need perfect weather to enjoy this city. Like any city where poor weather happens frequently, Tokyo is geared up for it. The locals can't stop just for a bit of rain. So why should we? We are from Manchester, so we should be bloody well used to it. Sometimes you simply need to change the plan a little. Looking back, that's exactly what happened. Instead of forcing the day we imagined, we embraced the day Tokyo gave us. The skyline disappearing into the clouds, some unforgettable food, a relaxing afternoon with the cats, and one last night wandering the stunning, rain-soaked streets. In an odd way, it felt like the perfect way to say goodbye. At least for now. Tomorrow, it was time for a completely different side of Japan. Kyoto awaited as the gateway to the rest of this incredible trip. Make sure, if you liked this video, you give us a subscribe to follow along with this adventure. And thanks so much for watching.